My work is about the beauty of natural history, and it all comes from when I was a tiny little tot and I looked at nature and made my own little gardens at the end of my parents' house. All these little bits of grass turf and these little figures, and I made this miniature landscape, and I was looking at the minutiae of things, and a snail had come into the scene, and you might have woodlice and all these different animals coming into the scene. And I think that's where I kicked off. Got myself a matchbox and found a little skeleton of a blackbird, a little skull, and all these things just fascinated me with the shape of them and the different textures, and I think that's what kicked me off. And once I had done all that, I then wanted to recreate it. So I then wanted to start drawing and build on that, and then start making models of things and bits of cardboard and making shapes out of different materials. And then I just got really excited about the whole material thing and finding something and then matching it up with something that existed. At 16 years old, my first inroad into being an adult, I suppose, was working at Reading Museum, and I can't actually pinpoint why natural history has been such an important part in my life, except for the fact that I find so much variety in all the animals and birds around me, with the colour and the structure of them. I think that's really what fascinates, that there's so much variety. And I think I just revel in the whole idea of the world being full of beautiful things. And I don't know that people are actually particularly beautiful, really, but that's the truth of it. And I think to go to a place like Reading Museum only as work experience, and then meet up with these people who would be rather analytical about the preserved skins and the skeletons and the taxidermy, and just clocking everything that this wildlife is doing. And I remember they used to have these amazing alive tanks in the museum with frogs and fish. So it wasn't just about stuffed things. It's like a little miniature zoo at the top of the staircase at Reading Museum many moons ago. And this whole thing just amazed me, because I'd never travelled. I'd gone on holiday in a caravan with my parents and really not got further than probably the Lake District when I was at home, and I realised that there's a whole world out there. And when I got the opportunity to go and travel, I really enjoyed seeing a whole new spectrum of natural history, particularly in Kenya. And I'm thinking that's really what's inspiring, is that nature is so dynamic. With form, with regard to seeing something with its clothes on, for instance, or an animal with its fur or its feather, you see very little of the actual structure that is underlying it. And I'm thinking that to really get into the depth of understanding how the anatomy works, you've got to be able to see where the muscle is underneath and how it moves and where the joints are and how the animal actually supports itself underneath that jacket, sort of thing. And with regard to the taxidermy, it was almost like you're doing archaeology. You uncover the soil and then you gradually work your way down into something which you've discovered. And that's the way that I see taxidermy, as something which you can then take measurements from, and then that can be transferred into a final painting or a sculpture. It's very important that you've got that in your head before you start, because I really do like laying the plans out, as it were, before I start working on something, because you've got to have it all clear in your head, all preparation, and then you're ready to go. Yeah.